The desert was quiet again after the storm. All that remained were streaks of lightning across the far horizon, the smell of burnt ozone, and the faint hum of cooling metal buried half in the sand. I found the wreck at dawn, what was left of a small shuttle, sleek and torn open like a gutted animal. I wasn't supposed to be there. Scavengers weren't welcome near military debris. But something about the crashed trail, a perfect gouge in the dunes stretching for half a mile, pulled me in like gravity. I climbed through a jagged tear in the hull. Smoke stung my eyes and wires hung like vines. My boots crunched over shattered panels and fragments of glass that once belonged to a cockpit window. Then I heard it, a small rasping sound. A whimper. "Hello," called softly. Something moved behind a crushed console. I shone my lantern and froze. A woman, no, not quite. Her hair shimmered in copper tones even under the soot. But it was her ears that caught me. Tall, triangular, furred like a fox's. Her eyes, amber and slitted, blinked up at me through blood and grime. "Stay back," she whispered, voice trembling. I crouched beside her anyway, lifting part of the console off her leg. "You're lucky you're alive," I said. "Let me help you." When I touched her, she flinched, but not from fear. Her skin was burning hot like fever or fire. "You're human," she breathed. "I thought you'd kill me." I forced a faint smile. "Not my hobby." Took an hour to free her. She was too weak to walk, so I carried her on my back through the cold morning dunes to my shack at the edge of the salvage field. By the time I laid her down, her breathing had gone shallow. I cleaned her wounds and gave her water. When she finally slept, I sat by the door, staring at her tail curled around her like a blanket. Vulpine. A foxfolk from the Lyra colonies. I'd only seen them on wanted posters and propaganda screens. Predators in disguise. The soldiers called them. But this one didn't look like a predator. She looked lost. By the second day, she was awake and alert enough to ask questions. "Why did you save me?" she asked, her voice hoarse but steady. "Because you were dying," I replied. "That's not reason enough for a human." I laughed quietly. "Guess I'm not a good one then." She tilted her head, fox ears twitching. "You're strange." I handed her a cup of broth. "So I've been told." She sipped, watching me with those golden eyes. "My name is Kira." "Eli," I said. For a few days we lived in fragile silence. She limped around my place, inspecting my scavenged trinkets. Old radios, ship fragments, dried flowers in bottles. Sometimes she'd sit outside under the stars and hum songs in a language I didn't know. But the peace couldn't last. The military patrols found the crash site by the 5th day. I saw the lights from my roof, heard the distant buzz of drones combing the dunes. I rushed inside. "They're here," I whispered. "You have to hide." Her eyes widened. "They'll kill you if they find me." "Then we better make sure they don't." We moved fast, covered the windows, buried the metal from the wreck, and hid her beneath the floorboards I used for storing spare coils. When the soldiers came, I met them at the door with a steady face. "Scavenger Eli Ward." The officer barked. "That's me. Reports say you've been near the downed alien craft." Shrugged. "I pick through trash, not ghosts." The officer scanned the room, nose wrinkling at the smell of oil and dust. For a moment I thought I was done for. Then his calm crackled and he turned away. "Nothing here. Move out." When the hum of engines faded, I lifted the floorboard. Kira crawled out, trembling. "You could have died," she whispered. "Yeah," I said, trying to sound casual. "But then so could you." She stared at me for a long time before something softened in her gaze. "You're not strange, Eli. You're kind." When she was strong enough to walk, she left, or tried to. It was night when I found her standing by the ridge, the wind tugging her cloak, her tail flicking like a flame. "You can't go far," I said. "They'll be watching the borders." "I can't stay," she murmured. "Your people will hunt me. And they'll hunt you for helping." I took a step closer. "Then we'll figure something out together." Her ears flattened. "Together?" He nodded. "You can't just vanish into the sand. You'll die out there." For a moment her eyes shimmered, sad, uncertain. Then she reached out and pressed her palm to my chest. Her skin still felt too warm. "You shouldn't care this much," she said. "Too late," I replied. She smiled faintly. "Then goodbye, Eli." And before I could stop her, she disappeared into the night. I didn't see her for 3 weeks. The desert was quiet again. I went back to scavenging, fixing things, pretending I wasn't looking for her shadow on every dune. Then one evening, as I returned from the scrapyard, I saw movement near my shack. A silhouette crouched by the door. My pulse jumped. "Kira!" She turned, her fur catching the starlight. "You humans," she said softly. "You build homes out of sand and still act surprised when something finds its way back." I laughed in disbelief. "You came back." "I tried to leave," she admitted. "But everywhere I went I smelled smoke, metal, and your hands. I couldn't forget." She stepped closer, the desert wind playing with her hair. "Maybe it's the bond," she whispered. "My kind, we imprint on those who save us." "Imprint?" I asked, half smiling. Her tail brushed the ground. "It means, we follow." The air between us shimmered with silence. She looked up at me, eyes glowing like twin embers. "You pulled me from the fire, Eli. You gave me life. So I'll follow you wherever you go." I swallowed hard. "Even if that's nowhere special." She tilted her head, smiling. "Then that's where I belong." The desert wind howled outside, scattering sand like snow. She stepped past me into the shack, the faint scent of rain clinging to her fur. And for the first time in a long while, the place didn't feel empty anymore. That night, as the stars burned bright and silent over the dunes, I realized something strange. I had dragged a Vulpine out of the crash, thinking I'd saved her. But somewhere along the way, it was she who had saved me. From loneliness, from the wasteland, from myself. And maybe that was the real miracle buried in the sand. That night, the desert wind whispered against the walls of the shack like a restless ghost. Kira sat by the lantern, her eyes half closed, the golden glow dancing in their depths. I watched her tail flick lazily as she hummed that strange tune again. Soft, ancient, and haunting. "You really mean to stay?" I asked quietly. She looked up, ears twitching. "Do you want me to leave?" I shook my head. "No. But it's dangerous. If they find out." "They won't," she interrupted gently. "And if they do, then I'll protect you." I almost laughed. "You protect me?" She smiled, showing a hint of sharp teeth. "Don't underestimate a Vulpine, human." The words carried warmth, but her eyes said more than she wanted to admit. She'd seen too much, lost too much. I could feel it in the way she breathed. Every exhale a ghost of the life she left behind. Outside, thunder rolled far away. The same kind that had brought her crashing into my world. I moved to sit beside her. "You could have gone anywhere." "I did," she said softly. "But nowhere felt alive until I came back here."